Hi friends, this is Caitlin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are doing an amazing giveaway hop with the new Sweet November stamps release. I'm going to be using the Snow Buddy Like You stamp set that's new, as well as an old favorite, the Horizon Lines Winterscapes. That middle stamp there we're going to be using to build a really fun scene shaker card. So I'm going to start by stamping out these two little best buddy snowmen. They're so stinking cute. And I'm going to end up cutting around them to make this the bottom part of the scene. So I'm just putting my sentiment there so I know I have enough room for it, but I'm not actually going to stamp it yet. Most of the time I don't have any issue with my Copics making my ink bleed. I use the Honeybee Stamps intense black ink, and generally it doesn't bleed, but when it comes to sentiments I'm always extra nervous that it will, so I just wait until the end when my coloring is done to stamp my sentiments pretty much all the time. So I'm going to go in, like I said, with those two, and we're going to be stamping our background on a separate piece of cardstock. So I'm using my snowman stamped panel just to get this spacing right. And then I'm going to put my magnet on my paper, pick up my stamp, and I'm going to slide my next piece of cardstock right over my snowman. And if it's like a tiny bit off, it doesn't matter. But that's going to help me make sure that things are as lined up as possible. And it turned out really good. So it definitely worked. But yeah, I love a shaker card, I love a scene card, and I love Sweet November stamps. So this one was super easy for me to decide on. There is a giveaway attached to this hop. And if you want to be entered, all you have to do is visit all 7 videos. Make sure you're subscribed to everyone's channels, like and comment on their videos, and then someone's going to win the entire release. So you have from today, which is Sunday, December 8th, until Wednesday, the 11th, and I'm going to have all of those details down in the description below for you as well. So I am slowly but surely falling in love with my airbrush, and this is how easy it is, right? You twist the one end of the hose to the little Copic airbrush adapter gun thing, and then you attach the other end of the hose to the air compressor, which is that blue machine I held up. You put your marker in and you're good to go. I mean, you have to turn it on, but it's so easy. And the finish that you get is just so fun. So I really wanted to play with a purple night sky. I stamped my background stamp onto some printer paper and just fussy cut out the trees at the top. So I have a mask, but it's not like a sticky mask. I taped it onto my panel from the back of the cardstock. And I'm working on Copic Express It for my airbrush panel, as well as my regular snowman coloring. But that background sky came out so quick. And then I'm using my Tim Holtz moon mask stencils, which are my absolute favorite. And I like to go in and add a little bit of a creamy color to the moon first, and then so it's not stark white, and then go back in and add those shadows using the crater stencil. And to bring in some night sky stars, I'm adding a little drop of water to my P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, and I'm going to just tap that all over. And the reason that they're stars and not snow is because none of them will be covering, I mean, technically I guess it's covering the moon, but if you really want it to look more like snow, you'd be better off adding them at the end so that everything has them in front of them. But the fact that there's none on the trees, to me, just always reads more as stars. Luckily, we're doing a winter scene and it really doesn't matter either way. So because I had so much purple in my sky, I wanted to up the color in my snowmen. I generally like to do colorful snow on my snowmen anyway, but usually I go more of the BGs or sometimes really light blue markers. I really wanted to play around with bringing in some BV purples to match that sky. And I think it turned out so good. So I'm going in under their hats, kind of around their faces, but I'm leaving a little bit of a highlight to the edges on especially their faces. We also add a shadow anywhere where one thing's overlapping another. So under the hat, under the scarf, where his little belly kind of covers his legs, which is just, these are just drawn so cute. And I'm using the same colors for both of these snowmen. I'm just doing the one on the left first, and then we'll do the one on the right, but the colors are all the same. I'm really trying to pull that color out. You want to leave white space so that it still reads as white and not purple, but there's like a good bit of space. These are not teeny tiny little delicate images. They can take a good bit of color. So don't be nervous to kind of fill in your paper. And I'm also going back in with colorless blender to make sure that everything blends out to that white really smoothly. So now I'm starting on that the snowman on the right hand side. I don't know if he is ambidextrous or right-handed or left-handed. And I'm adding that same BV04, then we'll bring in that BV02 and then blend everything out again. Very similar, adding more shadow around those kind of scarf area and under the scarf here. Also under the coal buttons, because the other snowman didn't have buttons. So yeah, these are just so stinking cute, and I love the range of things you can do, but they're also big enough that you could just stamp and color them, and they don't even have to really be in a scene. They're cute and substantial enough that they could be the whole card. I love that. There's also an Instagram hop going on this weekend, so if you're catching this when it's coming out, please make sure you go over and check my Instagram page. I have it linked in the description, and there's a really fun Instagram hop. The Instagram hop is longer. There's more people in it than the YouTube hop, but you have a double chance to win. So if you love to hop along, I say go for it. It's a very good release to hop for. It's a 8-piece winter release, 8 stamp set winter release. So stinking cute. And I'll have another really fun video with one of these images coming out next weekend as well, with some northern lights that I also airbrushed. So I'm trying to incorporate more airbrushing, but I also am still coloring with my markers too. So if you want to see some different and new things, you will get the chance. And if you also just want to see coloring with markers, I will also have your back on that. Now for the scarf and hats, I decided I wanted to use kind of the same colors for both of them, but swapping them around. So our first snowman is getting this really pretty teal scarf with that BG49, and then I'll pull it back up, whatever one I was using just a second ago, and then BG23 is my highlight. So cute. I didn't do anything crazy texture-wise, but I love it. And then I'm using the same colors for the hat of the other snowman. So it's BG49, BG07, and BG23. And then my other color for both of them is going to be this kind of raspberry color. So starting with RV69, shading in the hat now on our first snowman, and then we'll do the scarf on the other one. And I am leaving some white as well. So like the hat band and the little pom-pom on his kind of raspberry Santa hat will be white, as well as the little pom-pom on our teal hat and that hat band, just to kind of change it up a little bit. And I don't know, it kind of to me looks like they swapped matching sets, right? Or like if a kids were making them, they thought it would be fun to mix match their winter wear. I don't know. These are the things I think about while I'm coloring, because it took a while. Not too long. This card didn't take that long, but it definitely was a little bit of an investment, especially once it came to assembling my shaker. Now, my RV34 to RV69 was a really big jump, so I did do some tip-to-tip blending with my Copic markers, where you kind of pick up the darker marker on your lighter marker and apply it to get a nicer blend. I added little carrot noses and colored in that coal, and then the snow around them is also going to have that purple hue. I did bring in some N4 just to help kind of deepen those shadows. And I'm going to use that same N4 again to shade in the white fabric of their hats and pom-poms. Very lightly though. We're going to be very minimal with those neutral grays because I didn't want them to compete with the snow. But I also think it's fun to have different whites having a different kind of color base, right? So like our snow white is purple, but our fabric white is like a neutral gray. Not necessary, just something fun. And so I am going to fussy cut only the top halves of them, and the bottom I'm going to cut across to make the front part of our scene. Now for the background, I'm going in with kind of the same general BV purple markers. I'm adding in that extra depth there than what we did in the foreground because the background would have much more shadow. But then bringing in, again, that same BV4 and BVO2 that we used on the lighter snow. And those just will become, instead of being our medium and our dark, they'll become our medium and our light this time. Also kind of creating some nice shadows where those trees would be shadowing the snow because the moon is kind of behind them. Some of this is going to get covered up, but I did also check frequently as I was working to make sure of what was going to be visible in the scene behind those snowmen. I wanted to leave snowy edges on my tree branches, so I'm going to go with BG99 first and just start kind of flicking color in. I'm starting at the top of each kind of section, and as I'm flicking down towards the edges of that section of tree, I'm leaving that white space, and that's going to give it the look of snow kind of sticking just to those little ends of the branches. These trees that are far away, I just filled them in. I was not going to attempt to separate that out. And then I ate away a little bit at some of the white space that I left with some BG96 just to give it a little more texture. And I decided when I held everything up that it was looking pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. So I grabbed my Pink and Main stitched rectangle frames dies, and we're going to use the biggest frame. It's a full A2 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm adding this teeny tiny I think it's 1/4 inch easy tear tape all the way around. And the way that I make these scenes, I want my snowmen to be on top of my sequins. So I'm going to add in my little snowmen to the back of the frame. So this all becomes one layer. And I'm adding some thicker tape here just so that it was faster. But now our snowmen and the sides and top of our frame are all sticky. So when we add in our acetate sheet, that, like I said, all becomes one solid layer. It's one window that you can just see through the top of. Now I'm going to stamp in my sentiment. Like I said, I like to wait until the rest of my coloring is done just in case, especially on something like white snow. And I'm stamping there's snow buddy like you. I just thought this was so cute, little besties, snowmen. And I'm taking this 1/4 inch foam tape that I don't love, but I'm determined to use up. I think I've used it a couple times in recent videos, and you might be tired of hearing that, but it's not my favorite. I don't recommend it. I have that tear tape down ahead of time because it's not very sticky. So when I have it used up and I get another tape, if I love it, I'll let you know. For my shaker bits, I decided to go with these little clay bits that I got from like Michael's craft store. But I'm also going in with some sequins from This Calls for Confetti. I went with light blue and a couple of these really beautiful navy confetti sequins. And I'm taking my Pink and Main anti-static brush and just rubbing that along the edges of my foam before I remove that backer tape, just to help make sure that they don't stick, because this tape is very thick. It gives like a really nice depth to this shaker, which I do love. But sometimes you just want to make sure things don't get stuck on the sides. So once I had that lined up, that is our card. So we get all of that fun shake, but it's not obscuring our snowmen. And I hope that you'll go check out the Sweet November Stamps release. Please hop along if you can. And thank you so much. I'll see you back here super soon. And until next time, happy crafting.